Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back, my dear brothers and sisters. I have to be really calm in this segment because we're actually talking about how to achieve the peace of mind. A very, very important topic that all of us, exclusively, every single one of us needs to know about. And the reason is that we all have many problems in our lives, many, even if they're not actual problems, but at least assumptions of problems or issues that we think about day and night. They could be real, they could be not so real. They could be fears of the future, they could be worries about something that happened in the past or something that's happening now or something that may happen in the future. And how can we achieve this peace of mind? Obviously it has to do with overcoming these fears and these worries, but it is much more detailed than that. That's what we're going to be discussing here in this segment, and I'm honored to be joined here in the studio by Brother Ala Arif. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being back with us here on the program.
I'm glad.
Even the word itself, peace of mind, sounds peaceful. Your thoughts?
Actually, peace of mind is like God-inspired tranquility. It's not gained by ourselves. It's a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So it's not the result of listening to relaxing music and sitting on the beach and things like that?
Actually, people say that I can be calm by listening to music, by playing football, playing anything, or playing the piano or something. This is like a very short peace of mind for a while. But the everlasting one is the gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows upon us, which is the tranquility or the peace of mind that we cannot, as I said earlier, gain it like this by ourselves, by listening to something or something else. But the point is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just bestows this on us, so we have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this. Before starting talking about Sakeenah or peace of mind, so we need to know why don't we have peace of mind, or what are the reasons behind missing?
Isn't it pretty obvious though? You know, we all have problems in our lives, or at least we assume that we have problems.
It's common nowadays that we're missing Sakeenah. One of the reason, or the most important reason, which is, the low of Iman, decrease of Iman. The Prophet ﷺ said, Iman wears out in one's heart just as the dress wears out. Therefore, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to renew, to rejuvenate your Iman time after time. So you need to recharge your Iman from time to time in order to have peace of mind. So one of the other reasons that we are being indulged in life, thinking about life and forgetting about the hereafter. I mean, talking about the time we're living, we need to live the moment, and that's it. So, and we're forgetting about the hereafter.
Because we think so much about the dunya, as you're saying, that it becomes something so huge, right? But when we maximize thinking about the akhirah, the dunya becomes this small.
And this is very cluster clear in the Prophet's saying when he said, whoever just seeks dunya as like his goal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will divide his matters, his affairs, and he will put poverty in front of his eyes, and nothing will come to him except what was written for him.
Yes.
And the other person who just seeks the akhirah or the hereafter as his goal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will gather and collect his matters and affairs and will put richness in his heart. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will let the dunya come to him submissively.
Subhanallah.
It will come under his feet.
Such a beautiful hadith.
Yeah, because it's not our goal. Our goal is the hereafter, the everlasting one. So if you just think about it like this and you forget about being like, occupied by dunya and occupied by, being busy. One of the reasons also being busy about having a position in life, having like, titles and so on. This is one of the reasons behind being not having the peace of mind and tranquility. Also, many people just try to think about their desires, the thing that their whims, what I need from life, and forgetting about the hereafter. So what is Sakeenah? As we said, Sakeenah is, something is gifted from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descended upon the heart of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the hearts of the believers. And Sakeenah, the Prophet said in hadith, said arrogance is with the people who take care of camels, but Sakeenah is with people who take care of sheep. Just if we just think about it, the one who just sits with sheep, takes care of them, he's like very humble and modest. But the one who takes care of camels, see now the description of the Prophet ﷺ, this is a very good picture for this. And also Ibn Abbas said, here we have some narrations and some saying that pushes us and motivates us to enhance Sakeenah in our heart. He said that we would say that if you that Sakeenah was materialized in the speech and tongue of Umar ibn Khattab. So when he speaks, we can feel Sakeenah and tranquility. And the Prophet ﷺ said, urging us to enhance Sakeenah, whenever the iqamah is pronounced, do not rush to prayer. Just catch whatever you can in congregation and then complete what you missed from the prayer. So now this is Sakeenah. Don't come to the prayer and you are just, in a hurry or something, so you cannot pray very well.
And the word Sakeenah itself also comes from the verb Sakeenah,
which from sukoon, from like silence.
Yeah, and from second, which is like it's kind of like having kind of like a home or something, kind of like a hug.
Yeah.
So you feel this tranquility, and also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about it when He referred to one of His ayat in this dunya, which is the relationship between a husband and a wife.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil
Alamin.
So, this is obviously like the most important problem that I think a lot of us deal with. We had a program here a few months ago, actually it aired during Ramadan. It was called De-Stress. A very, very important thing that I think all of us need to do. So how can we achieve this peace of mind?
Actually, we have lots of things that we can do in order to achieve peace of mind. The first thing is just dealing with yourself, feeling content, feeling satisfied of what you have. If you just feel this, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me what I deserve, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is just, He is fair, He doesn't give like this, He just give in the right position. So you feel content of what you have, so you will not be worried about anything, because you think that what I got is the perfect thing for me.
But doesn't that in one way or another negate looking for something better or trying to achieve more?
Not really. You have to search for things like changing your position and looking for change and so on. But mainly you have to be satisfied of what you have. So I'm satisfied of what I'm having, but I'm trying to get better, not to the extent that makes me forget about what I have. Some people focus on what they need for searching for things and forget about what they have. So they feel like discontent. They feel distressful. They feel like they are living in agony. So
they're never satisfied with what they have.
Yeah, because this is the first thing. You just feel satisfied with what you have, then look forward to getting new things and for change. The other thing is stop comparing yourself with others.
This is a very important point.
Yeah, if you just try to stop comparing yourself with others and you think that what you have is good for you, because no one is complete. Maybe he seems to you that he is perfect, but he has losses in other things. So you have to deal with yourself regarding this matter. Another important thing, which is lowering your gaze for not looking at haram things, at forbidden things. If you try to improve this and you try to stop looking at things that are not permissible to you, you will feel in peace. Another thing, which is the most important thing, which is reciting Quran. And reciting Quran nowadays, we're just forgetting about reciting Quran. We just recite Quran in Ramadan, and even if we recite Quran, we recite it like this, just reading like this, not thinking about the meanings, because the Quran is the word of Allah.
Yes.
The word of Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to you, only you. Do not be busy while you are reading Quran. Do not be busy about other things or other people. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing you. And I feel this when I read the Quran, when I recite the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing me only. So I have to live with it. I have to understand it. I have to try to apply what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders me to do. From the Quran, I'm ordered to do what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm ordered not to be in the place of that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't love. I'm ordered to be in the place that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I have to think about it. I have to, to scrutinize, to look deep in the verses of the Quran.
Let me also ask you, brother, does achieving Sakeenah, is it something in the heart only, or is it in the body only, or is it a mix of both?
Actually, mainly it is in the heart. Because if you have Sakeenah in your heart, it will affect your body. So the Prophet ﷺ said to someone who was praying, if he had submission in his heart, his body will submit, because he wasn't focusing. All right? The one who was praying, and the Prophet ﷺ told him just to pray again. And he prayed, pray again. Why? Because he didn't have the submission. He didn't pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was busy about life. He was busy about other stuff. He wasn't focusing in praying. He was just, praying like this and that's it. No. In praying, and this is one of the reasons of achieving tranquility or Sakeenah, praying the 5 times in congregation, on time. If you try to do this, if you just, especially praying Fajr, if you go down to pray Fajr in Masjid, so you feel, this is like the best moments of your life.
And you can take like a short walk after it as well. You
this
feel
is really
the beautiful
amazing.
air.
This is superb.
Morning.
If you try to do this every day, and after this, we have to say azkar, the morning azkar and the evening azkar. So if you just pray Fajr and then you take a walk, you just say the azkar, it's really amazing. You cannot describe it.
So there's a whole lot you can do instead of taking antidepressants, for example.
Yes. Instead of thinking about others, instead of just comparing yourself with others, living with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, believing in preordainment. I mean, believing in fate. Believing in fate. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala written for you is going to happen to you. No way out. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, whatever befalls you is not to escape you. And whatever escapes you is not to befall you. So
basically, in other words, whatever is meant to hit you will hit you, and you will never miss you.
Yes.
Right? And whatever was supposed to miss you will never hit you.
That's it. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said. And if you just have this conception that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever happens to me will be good for me. And you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would do something. It seems to us that we don't like it, but in reality it's good for us. So if you think about it, and the Prophet said in another hadith, the mu'min or the believer, everything is good for him.
Yes.
Why? Because if something bad happens to him, what does he say?
He's patient.
Yeah, he's patient. And whatever bad happens to him, whatever good happens to him, he just thanks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And no one can do this except the mu'min. And no one can do this except the one who has Sakeenah. Because at the time of sadness, we need Sakeenah. We lack Sakeenah at the time of agony. If whatever you have, whenever you have calamity or just pain, you need to have Sakeenah. This is the time that you miss and lack Sakeenah. So at this time, if you enhance or just improve Sakeenah, so you are a good believer. All right? So one of the most important things regarding achieving Sakeenah, seeking knowledge. And the best knowledge is the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So some of Salaf said, the person who, knows Allah the most, fears Allah the most. So if you know Allah, if you know His attributes, if you know that Allah subhanahu is the most powerful, if you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the all-giver, you will never stay away from Him. You will never feel, distracted from thinking about Allah, from loving Allah. Love of that. If you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you accept what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does for you, you just feel like tranquil. You feel calm and quiet. And this is what we need to have. We need to have tranquility. We need to have peace of mind.
Are there certain signs that a person has achieved this peace of mind or this sakeenah?
Actually, if you just feel like, you have nothing that bothers you. Whatever happens to you is good for you. You know that from what the Prophet said, that everything happens to you
for a reason.
For a reason. So you will feel sakeenah in your heart, and you feel like you achieve sakeenah.
And as you said, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, whatever happens to you was never going to miss you.
That's
right?
It.
So for example, a person who's waiting right now anxiously, for a specific job or something like that, and he wants to see how he did in the interview, or if he'll get the visa to travel, or this and that. If it's meant to be, if you're the person written, to take that salary or to have that job, it will happen. No one else will take your job, right? For example, a sister who's waiting to get married, and maybe not a lot of people propose to her yet, or at least suitable.
If she's meant to have this, she will have this.
Exactly.
And also, if you we have lots of stories like you are walking in the street and like a car went before you like this, and you were about to die. But this is not your time.
I mean, because it was not meant.
Yeah, it was meant. And another person beside you just was hit.
Yeah.
See, now this is, if you just have this concept, your look at life will be different.
And it goes back to one of the most important principles of Iman, which is qada and qadr.
Yes, believing in faith. This is what we said, one of the principles of achieving sakeenah. Also, having tawbah, repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you just, whatever you do, or whenever you do something bad, you just repent and go back. And you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees this and knows this, and this is written in your book that you did this. So you will go back to the one who will forgive you. You will not go back to someone else and say, I did this and this and this. So
let me ask you this question.
Go ahead.
Some people have sakeenah when it comes to dunya matters, even though most of us don't. Okay, but some people, mashallah, they're able to do that. If this happens to me, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I could care less. But then the shaitan comes to them from another angle. He makes them doubt that Allah will forgive them in the hereafter. So they end up having sakeenah when it comes to their earnings and their money and their jobs and their spouses and this and that. But then they don't have a sakeenah in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they feel that, okay, you know what, no matter what I do, I'll end up going to the hellfire because I'm not good enough.
Allah said this clearly in the verse, said, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, do not, doubt the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just all what you need to do is to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered you to do. As I said earlier, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see you this place, so go to this place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this thing that you're going to do will please Allah, do it. And this thing will displease Allah, do not do it. So, and then wait for the mercy of Allah. And as I said earlier, if you know about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you seek knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will never fail you, and you have the faith and believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will fail you. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most generous one.
Yes.
So if you just do something, if you do hasana, you take like 700, as like in return for this hasana. And if you do something bad, you take just an equal bad for it. I mean, an equal, say yeah for it.
Yeah.
So it will be written like just one. But if you do something just very little, something good, you take like hundreds.
Yes.
So see now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most generous. If you believe in this, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His mercy is the widest thing ever. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His mercy, you know, His mercy like bestows in everyone, even if the disbeliever. So subhanahu wa ta'ala has the mercy over the disbeliever. So why they are living and why they having this and this and this, you know, this luxurious life? Because of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You disobey me and I give you, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mercy. And if I believe in this, everything will be easy. I will not have any doubts.
Jazakallah khair, barakallahu feek. We're actually running out of time, and I want us to put this concept, it's at this point, you're saying a lot of great things, but we need to make the concept more human. And there's no better way to do so than to give examples from the prophets, who obviously were the most people who had the Sakeenah, had this form of peace of mind or tranquility. So very quickly, maybe a story or two, inshallah.
All right, we have lots of stories, and you know, the Prophet Ibrahim, may Allah be pleased with him, and may Allah exalt his mention. He has lots of, you know, if you just, you know, see his story with his wife and son Hajar and Ismail, when he left them in the desert, there is no water, there is nothing, and Hajar told him, you know, did Allah ask you to do this? He said yes. So she said, look at Hajar and look at the Sakeenah that she has. Look at the strong faith. And the Prophet ﷺ said, the strong believer is much better than the weak believer. She was strong because she has faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not fail us.
So subhanAllah, both the husband and wife in this specific case had Sakeenah.
Yes.
And it led to great results.
Look at, you leave your son in the desert without anything, and because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered, and we can learn and take a lesson from this, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, do this, do it, and don't think about why, and don't say why, and how could I do this, and so on. Another situation, when Ibrahim, may Allah exalt his mention, was put into fire.
Yes.
What did he say? He said, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. So
Wasallam.
he left everything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the fire turned to be peace, because he has Sakeenah in his heart. And one of the most important anecdotes that happened with Musa alayhi salam, when he was in front of, you know, the sea, and the people of the Pharaoh and his people coming to kill the believers, and the believers said what? They're going to catch us. He said, Kalla inna ma'i rabbi sayahdeen. He said, no, and you saw the word kalla is much better than the word la. It's much stronger. He said, kalla. So no, like this.
Yes.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not leave me. And you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him to head the sea, and so, see now, because he has Sakeenah in his heart. And lots of stories. Yusuf, may Allah exalt his mention, he has lots of stories when with the princess or the woman that he was living with them, when he just has firm faith and has Sakeenah, he didn't do the sin, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just saved him from this. And also when he was put into prison, and then he went to be the king, and so on. So he has Sakeenah, he has faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he has no doubts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The last thing I would like to end up with, I know that we run out of time, so Ibn al-Qayyim mentioned in Madarik al-Salikin some verses that has Sakeenah, 6 verses. I will recite them in Arabic, and he said that the Sakeenah is one of the, you know, the gifts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not gained by ourselves. It's a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'll be reciting the verses. The first one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَقَالَ لَهُمْ نَبِيُّهُمْ إِنَّ آيَةَ مُلْكِهِ أَن يَأْتِيَكُمُ التَّابُوتُ فِيهِ سَكِينَةٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَبَقِيَّةٌ مِّمَّا تَرَكَ آلُ مُوسَى وَآلُ هَارُونَ تحمله الملائكة إن في ذلك لآية لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين. The second verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ثم أنزل الله سكينته على رسوله وعلى المؤمنين وأنزل جنودا لم تروها وعذب الذين كفروا وذلك جزاء الكافرين. Allah said in the third verse, إلا تنصروه فقد نصره الله إذ أخرجه الذين كفروا ثاني اثنين إذ هما في الغار إذ يقول لصاحبه لا تحزن إن الله معنا فأنزل الله سكينته عليه وأيده بجنود لم تروها وجعل كلمة الذين كفروا السفلى وكلمة الله هي العليا والله عزيز حكيم. Number 4, Allah said, هو الذي أنزل السكينة في قلوب المؤمنين ليزدادوا إيمانا مع إيمانهم ولله جنود السماوات والأرض وكان الله عليما حكيما. You know, I started to feel Sakeenah right now by reciting this.
That's what I'm feeling. As I'm hearing you right now, I'm feeling Sakeenah.
So number 5,
Allah grant us all Sakeenah.
Allah said, لقد رضي الله عن المؤمنين إذ يبايعونك تحت الشجرة فعلم ما في قلوبهم فأنزل السكينة عليهم وأثابهم فتحا قريبا. Number 6, Allah said, إذ جعل الذين كفروا في قلوبهم الحمية حمية الجاهلية فأنزل الله سكينته على رسوله وعلى المؤمنين وألزمهم كلمة التقوى وكانوا أحق بها وأهلها وكان الله بكل شيء عليما. So regarding these verses, Ibn al-Qayyim said that when Ibn Taymiyyah, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, the Shaykh of Ibn al-Qayyim, he was in pain and agony. When he recites this, he felt Sakeenah.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khairan. Finally, if we were to summarize the solution for Sakeenah in a nutshell, what would we say?
You know, in a nutshell, just you need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you Sakeenah. Just to do what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you to have Sakeenah, because as we said earlier, that Sakeenah is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So go back to Allah, ask Allah for Sakeenah, and you will have peace of mind in your life and inshallah in the hereafter.
Thank you so much, Brother Ala, for being with us here this evening. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you tremendously.